Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. So I have the beautiful Felicity in, and we are doing a complete acrylic redesign on her nails. So I've sanitised her hands and my hands, and now I'm using the extra coarse Velvet from Nail Dot Supplies just to remove all the old design and take it back down to that nice clear layer that we apply each time. And this just gives us that freedom to file back down to this layer each time. And then we can just go ahead and redesign, so it doesn't, we haven't got to soak off every single set that we do. So as you can see, I just come in, having a little chat there, come down the nail, and then I start like debulking. You can see it starts removing. When I start getting down to that clear layer, I kind of take the force off, so it is on full speed. And I do kind of dig it in to get down to that layer, but as soon as it does get down to the clear layer, I start taking a bit of pressure off and just kind of tickling over to remove the rest of that design. Because one, I don't want to burn my client, and two, I don't want to go too thin and then end up snapping the clear layer, because that is so frustrating when that happens. So the next step in my prep is taking my hand file, taking down any of the length and reshaping, and then just going around removing all the rest of that design of colour and taking away any lifting if there is any on the nails at this point. So as you can see, I try not to go over the natural nail. I don't want to overfile that natural nail area, so I'm just blending in the acrylic and making sure I've got no lifting and making sure all the old colour is gone as well, as much as possible anyway, because I don't, as I said before, I don't want to go too thin and I don't want it to be too aggressive, because I do not want to snap the enhancement and then be back on square one. So when that's nice and blended, I'm just going to move on to the next nail and do the exact same. So I just sharpen up the edges, take down a little bit of the length and sharpen the free edge. As you can see, her nails are growing nice and long and strong underneath the enhancement. They're looking nice and healthy, nice and clean, which is what we want. And then I'm just going to go ahead and blend that acrylic into the natural nail and remove any little bits of lifting. So once all that acrylic is nice and blended, I'm going to come in with the mini skiver bit from Atwood Industries. I don't know if it's skiver, however you want to pronounce it, but it's from Atwood Industries, and I got it from the UK distributor, which is PJ's Nail Lounge. I think it cost me like 12 quid or something like that, but I really love it. So I'm just going around the cuticle area, getting in the sidewalls, making sure there's no dead skin left in any of them areas. I'm going to get rid of all of this to minimise lifting. And you can take this bit over onto that natural nail as well, because it is just like a brushed sort of carbide. Is that the bit? Is that the word? But it's quite gentle on the nail. So I'm just going to go around the cuticles, remove all the dead skin, and we'll just take it along that little bit of the natural nail. Scrub away with Prep Spray Plus, and I'm not going to go in with any sort of file now on the natural nail, because it has been etched whilst we've been doing our prep work, and also when we did with the mini skiver bit. So I scrub away all of the dust and clean the nails really well, and then I come in with the black bottle dehydrator from CJP, and then I'm just coming in and doing a thin clear base on all 10 of her nails. So I take a small bead, wipe my brush, tap to a side and swipe it down, and then I tap and swipe it down, and then just kind of use the tip of my brush at an angle so I can get it nice and flush onto that natural nail plate. I use the tip of my brush as a barrier between the cuticle and the product, so I'm not getting any products touching any of the skin, but I'm also getting it nice and flush So once the clear layer is on and dry, I'm going to come in with design. So because she's having a French nail, I'm going to get the nail bed done first, because obviously we're going to file that crisp. So I want this set, so I get that done first. So I'm using amor, and I'm using the big boy brush, and I just place quite a large bead on at the cuticle, use my brush at an angle, tap it into the cuticle area, and then I'm just going to start messing with the end of that bead to make sure it gets nice, where I make sure it gets, not even talking any sense now, to kind of pat it and play with it into sort of rough shape that I want for the smile line. So then I'm going to come in with an ombre on this finger. So I'm using coconut milk from CJP. I just place it on, and then I use the tip of my brush to tap, tap, tap it to make it nice and feathered, and then bring the white down to create the nice, clean white tip, ready for me to create my ombre. So I'm just putting a little bit more there, thickening up that tip and making the white as opaque as I'd like it to be, and just so that when I apply the pink, it doesn't overpower the white and then make it look almost like there's no white. So we don't want to overpower the pink. So once I'm happy with that, I'm going to move on. Do another ombre on the index finger. So I'm just going to do the exact same process what I just did on the pinky finger. I'm going to place the bead on, use the very tip of my brush at an angle to feather that front of the bead down. And then I'm going to start using the body of my brush to kind of walk that bead and get that bead into position so it's nice and structured and where I want it on the nail, covering the sides, bringing it in with the side of my brush, and then pushing it down onto the free edge to make a nice, crisp, clean free edge. And then I think I go back to the pinky and create my ombre with amor. No thanks. So when I create my ombre, I place the bead on, I use the tip of my brush to tuck it into the cuticle area, using my brush as a barrier, and then avoid the bulk of the bead and just gently stroke and tickle the front of the bead onto the white. So I'm not dragging the whole bead onto the white, but I am creating that nice ombre, and then it is going to be nice and opaque as well, where I want that ombre to kind of be nice and flawless. So again, place the bead on at the cuticle, use the tip of my brush as the barrier between the cuticle and the product, tap, tap, and then I'm going to tickle the front end of that bead onto the white to get a nice seamless ombre. Then I'm going to go back and cap these, I think, and then I'm going to come in with our glitter. So I'm just really capping over where the blend is. I don't really need to build much here because I've got my clear base and I've got the structure from the core powders. So I'm just capping to protect the blend here. I'm not building or adding another massive layer because it's not necessary. You're just going to end up with a really bulky nail, and then you're going to have to just file all into it anyway. So I'm using pink Prosecco from Nail Sugar, and I think it's just an absolutely stunningly sparkly pink glitter, and I'm just going to use this on the ring finger and the thumb. So I pick up a really tiny bead of wet acrylic, which I have shown you before in previous videos, dip into the raw glitter, and then just start placing it and maneuvering it onto the nail, manipulating it into place where I want it. So we've got nice full coverage, and then I just come in and tap some of those chunkier sparkly bits onto the nail. So I just want to come in and say quickly that on her thumb is just where she trapped her nail as a kid in a car door, and it just grows like that. It's not separated from the nail bed or anything like that, and it's not dangerous or anything like that. It's not anything I've done. It's just where she has trapped it, and it grows a bit funky. We call it the funky thumb. So I'm just going to do the glitter on this nail as well, and then I'm going to go back and cap, and then we're going to file the smile line and make a nice pretty fresh French. So when I file, I make sure all my products are covered and that I uncover my Vodex so it can suck the dust up, and I use my file completely flat against the wall of the smile line, just so I'm filing the whole, like it's consistently filed the whole way around, and I'm not going to have any dips or ridges, because if you do and any bit is slightly lower than the other, you're going to start filing into your smile line. So just be mindful of how you hold your file. So I'm just uncovering obviously all the products that I've just put a bit of tissue over so none of the dust contaminates any of my pots, and then I'm coming in with the coconut milk and just going to create the free edge with that. So I'm going to take my efile, which is the smooth top medium grit, smooth top fine grit from Nail Dot Supplies. Go around the cuticle, debulk if any needs, mainly on this one. Come around the cuticle, down the side walls, over the entire nail, and then I will go underneath just to refine the C curve as well.
Hey, you don't have enough.
So after that I did refine with my hand file and apply crystals, but for some reason my phone stopped recording and I didn't catch that bit, so we've just gone straight into top coat mode. I did clean away all the dust as well, and then I'm just going to top coat the nails, cure her in the lamp for 60 seconds, and then when she comes out I will apply cuticle oil, and then I have left a little clip at the end for you to see the final result. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I love you lots, and I'll see you all again in my next one. Bye bye.